Hello everybody, this is Kate at the Library of Whispers, and today I'm going to read something a bit different. This is the catalogue for the sale of Oscar Wilde's books, furniture, everything basically in his house, which happened on Wednesday, April the 24th, 1895. To give you some context, I'm going to read this little bit of blurb here at the beginning, the introductory piece. So, Oscar Wilde. The very rare catalogue here reproduced through the kindness of its owner, Mrs. Donald Hyde, has the most poignant associations. Having lost his libel action against the Marquis of Queensberry, Oscar Wilde was arrested on the 5th of April 1895. Bail was initially refused, and he was twice remanded in custody before being released on May the 7th. During this period, his creditors obtained a judgment against him, and by order of the sheriff, the whole contents of his home, number 16 Tite Street, Chelsea, were hastily sold by auction on the premises on April the 25th. The catalogue, with its perfunctory descriptions, heavy lotting, and high proportion of unlisted items in the lots, is evidence of the haste with which the operation was undertaken. Wilde's wife was barely given an opportunity to remove her own personal effects, and even the children's toys came under the hammer. Vivian Holland, in his moving autobiography, Son of Oscar Wilde, 1954, vividly describes the bewildered anguish experienced by his brother and himself at the sudden, unexplained loss of their playthings. The sale must be accounted one of the worst conducted dispersals on record. A press campaign of unparalleled vilification had been conducted against Wilde, which had unleashed, in Frank Harris's words, an orgy of Philistine rancour. Serious purchasers were far outnumbered by a mob of curious and sensation-seeking idlers whom neither the auctioneer nor the representatives of the court could control. Eyewitnesses report theft, wanton damage, and the inability of bidders to communicate their offers to the rostrum. R. H. Sherard, in his Life of Wilde, quotes a description of the scene given him by an Irish publisher. I went upstairs and found several people in an empty room, the floor of which was thickly strewn with letters, addressed to Oscar mostly in their envelopes, and with much of Oscar's easily recognisable manuscript. This looked as though the various pieces of furniture which had been carried downstairs had been emptied of their contents onto the floor. After I had been in the room some time, a broker's man came up and said, "How did you get into this room?" I said, "The door was open and I walked in." Then the man said, "Then somebody has broken open the lock, because I locked the door myself." It was no doubt from this room that various of Oscar's manuscripts, which have never been recovered, were stolen. The same writer describes how he was physically unable to register a bid for a fine signed picture by Whistler, which he particularly wanted to buy and which was knocked down for £6. The catalogue makes evocative reading with its Whistler's The Full-Length Portrait of Wilde by Pennington, Carlyle's Desk, and the blue and white oriental porcelain. The few books mentioned individually hardly give more than a hint of Wilde's library, with its rows of French novels sold in lots of up to 100 at a time. A manuscript of Keats shared a lot with an etching by Mempes. One lot in particular seems to symbolise the chaos and the pathos. 112, a Japanese book on fishes, coloured plates, Oscar Wilde's Salome, bound in silk, 3 numbers, The Spirit Lamp, Japanese Tales, and large paper copies of Oscar Wilde's poems, etc. Some presentation copies, 20. The sale, as Vivian Holland says, was a scandalous piece of barefaced robbery. Books of inestimable value for their association interest were sold in bundles of 20 or 30 for £2 or £3 a bundle. Among them were first editions of my father's books with inscriptions to my mother, to my brother and to myself, which were kept in my mother's bedroom in a special bookcase to the right of the door. They have never reappeared, and it can only be supposed that the pages with the inscriptions were torn out to avoid their being identified. Copies of these books are frequently offered for sale, even today, thus mutilated. Mrs. Hyde's catalogue is the only one which we have traced. Its history is revealed from some inserted correspondence, of which Mrs. Hyde has kindly sent photocopies. The prices and annotations are in the hand of a Brompton Road dealer, H. Parsons, who attended the sale. It was later in the collection of Mr. Jack Cardiff, the film director, from whom Mr. H. Montgomery Hyde acquired it. In 1953, he lent it to Wilde's son Vivian Holland, who had never seen a copy. The late Donald Hyde and Mrs. Hyde bought Mr. H. Montgomery Hyde's Wilde's collection in 1963. So this is, I think that maybe this is the front cover. Of the auction catalogue, so let's have a look. What does it say? I use this to point. By order of the Sheriff, AD 1895, number 6907, 16 Tite Street, Chelsea, catalogue of the Library of Valuable Books, pictures, portraits of celebrities, Arundel Society prints, household furniture, Carlyle's writing table, Chippendale and Italian chairs, old Persian carpets and rugs, brass fenders, Moorish and Oriental curiosities, embroideries, silver and plated articles, old blue and white china, Moorish pottery, handsome ormolu clock and numerous effects. And then in writing it says, the property of Oscar Wilde, which will be sold by auction by Mr. Bullock on the premises on Wednesday, April 24th, 1895 at 1 o'clock. Then in small writing, may be viewed the day prior and catalogues had of Messrs. Clark & Co., 16 Portugal Street, Lincoln's Inn, and of the auctioneer, 211 High Holborn, WC. Okay. Conditions of sale. Number 1. That the highest bidder be the purchaser, and if any dispute should arise between 2 or more bidders, which the auctioneer is unable or unwilling to decide, the lot be put up again and resold, and if any bidding be made by any objectionable person, the auctioneer shall have full right to refuse to take such bidding, and in all cases of dispute or of doubt or requiring decision shall be the sole arbiter. Number 2. That the biddings be the usual sum, £5 per cent in advance. Number 3. that the purchaser of each lot do pay down immediately a deposit of 5 shillings in the pound, or more if deemed by the auctioneer necessary, in part of payment, and give his or her name and address, and that such deposit or payment be held as security for the clearance of any lot or lots that may have been previously or may be afterwards purchased by the same person, and in the event of any purchaser refusing to pay down a deposit when required, the lot or lots so bid for or bought may be put up again and resold, and the person so refusing be disentitled to have his or her bidding taken for any subsequent lot. Number 4. That the lots be absolutely paid for and cleared by 4 o'clock on the day after the sale by the purchasers, as their own expense, who will be held liable for any damages done in the removal of the same, and that such lots shall be taken with all faults, imperfections and errors of description, the auctioneer not holding himself responsible for the completeness, identity, or authenticity of any lot or article. Lastly, that on failure of complying with any of the above conditions, the money deposited in part of payment, if any, shall be forfeited, and all lots unpaid for or uncleared after the time aforesaid shall, at the option of the auctioneer or vendors, without notice, be resold by public or private sale, and the deficiency, if any, and all charges attendant on such resale, or for removal, warehousing, or holding possession until cleared or resold, shall be made good by the defaulter or purchaser thereof at this present sale, who shall have no claim to any surplus if the lot or lots, or any of them, should produce more by the resale, and that neither the auctioneer or owner shall be held responsible for any damage or loss by fire, theft, or accident. No cheques taken. 211 High Holborn, London, WC, April 23rd, 1895. And then on this side is the contents. We'll see if we can read it. Catalogue, Wednesday, April 24th, 1895, at 1 o'clock precisely. The Library of Books, Lot 1, Planchet, Cyclopedia of Costume, Coloured Plates and Engravings, 2 volumes, quarto. Lot 2, Lacroix, Mœurs, Usages, et Costumes au Moyen Âge, and Les Arts au Moyen Âge, Coloured Plates and Engravings, 2 volumes. Le Bon, La Civilisation des Arabes, Coloured Plates and Engravings, and Lacroix. Directoire, etc. Coloured Plates and Engravings, no cover, 2. Lot 4, Lacroix, 18th century costumes, etc., arts and sciences, etc., coloured plates and engravings, 2 volumes. Lot 5, a large album with photographs, large photograph album with photographs, and an oblong album with photographs. Lot 6, and that's been scratched out there. 3 volumes newspaper cuttings. Lot 7, Payne Collier's English Dramatic Poetry and Annals of the Stage, 3 volumes, quarto, and Massey's Shakespeare Sonnets. Lot 8, Edgar Allan Poe's Works by Stoddard, Frontispieces, 6 volumes. Lot 9, Shakespeare's Predecessors in the English Drama by Symonds, Shakespeare's Sonnets by Tyler, commentaries by Jevinius, Cowden Clark's Key, and Dowden on Shakespeare, 6 volumes. This spelled Shakespeare wrong, they put a K instead of an H there. And the second page. Lot 10. Ward's English Dramatic Literature 2, Craik's English Literature 2, and Sheridan's Works by Moore 2. Lot 11. Keats' Works by H.B. Foreman 4 volumes, plates. Lot 12. P.B. Shelley's Works by H.B. Foreman, plates 4 volumes. Lot 13. Blavatsky's Key to Theosophy, Edward Fitzgerald's Works 2, Quilter's Centennae, and The Roots of the Mountains by William Morris, presentation copy. Lot 14. Hawkins' Annals of the French Stage 2 and Symonds' Renaissance of Italy 4. Lot 15. Robinson's End of the Middle Ages, Victor Hugo's Dramas, plates 4, Wilson's Hindon Theatre 2, and Fauriel, Poésique Provençale. Plate 16. Nichols' American Literature, Allen's Violin Making, Plates and Cuts, Hall Caine's Recollections of Rossetti, I think that's supposed to say Rossetti, Crawford's Kale Vale 2, and Marius Epicuri. Plate 17. Parnell Commission, etc., 13 volumes. 18. Rossetti's Ballads and Poems, etc., 13 volumes. 19. Poems, Tennyson, Morris, etc., 25 volumes. 20. Keats' Poems, Pastels in Prose, etc., 21 volumes. Lot 21. Shelley's Selected Poems, Polyglot Bible, etc., 27 volumes, 2 parcels. Lot 22. French Novels, etc., 2 parcels, 40 volumes. Lot 23. A ditto lot, 2 parcels, 40 volumes. 24. Dumas's Works, 23 volumes. 25. M. Zola's Works, etc., 23 volumes. 26. French Novels, etc., 40 volumes, 2 parcels. 27. French Novels, etc., 45 volumes, 2 parcels. 28. Les Pentres de la Femme, Les Poems de Edgar Poe, etc. That'll be Edgar Allan Poe, I guess. A parcel of magazines. Lot 29. Works of Congreve 2, beautifully bound in calf, poems, etc. 30. A group of noble dames, Poulton's Shakespeare as a dramatic artist, etc. 13. And a parcel of pamphlets. 31. Quaritch's Catalogue, Romances of Chivalry, illustrated Virgili Maspici, 1717, 2 volumes, plates, History of Fashion, etc. 32. Shakespeare Society Transactions and New Shakespeare Society Publication, a parcel. 33. Stopes, Bacon, Shakespeare Question Answered, Orchid Grower's Manual, etc. 34. Johns, Ford, Works by Gifford and Dyce, The Art of Thomas Hardy, etc. 35. Mazzini's Memoirs, etc., 20 volumes. 36. Veitch's Nature in Scottish Poetry, etc. 37. James's Abode of Spring, etc., 20 volumes. 38. Keats's Poetical Works by Arnold, Milton's Works, Lord de Tabley's Poems and Others. 39. Swinburne's works, 14 volumes. 40. Australian poets, A Yellow Aster, W.G. Wills, Melchior, etc. 41. Poems by Alfred Tennyson, 1858, with Carlyle's autograph and others. 42. The Sunny Days of Youth, Poems, etc. 43. Booth's Darkest England, Norman Kerr's Inebriety, Letters of George Sand, 3, etc. 44. A Book of English Prose by Henty and Whibley, etc. 45. Memoirs of the Margravine of Baruth by H.R.H. Princess Christian, Social Life in the Reign of Queen Anne by Ashton, Maundeville's Travels with Cuts, etc. So now we'll take a look at some of the pictures and go down to lot 115. An oil painting by Pennington, full length, life-sized portrait of Oscar Wilde framed, exhibited. Lot 116. A crayon drawing of a nude female at a fountain, attributed Whistler, framed. 117. 2 Arundel Society Publications, coloured prints. 118. An oil painting, Study of a Head by J. Carroll Beckwith, exhibited. A ditto head, Jasmine. A ditto An Angel by A. D. May. A ditto Chinaman by T. Wars. 119. A Japanese picture framed. 120. An old oil painting on panel, group of figures, ebony frame. 121. A clever pen and ink sketch of a group of figures, signed and dated, and pencil sketch of a figure, oak frames. 122. An etching of a lady by Members after W. Graham Robertson, and a manuscript poem by Keats, framed. 123. A pencil sketch of a lady by Whistler, and 2 crayon full-length figures, framed. 124. A crayon drawing, The Editor of the Spirit Lamp at Work by W. H. Rothingham, and a crayon group, framed. 125. An old oil painting of Will Hughes, framed. 126. A watercolour drawing by H. O'Neill, 1875, view of Cashel. 127. An etching proof on Japanese paper by J. Bastien Lapage, portrait of Sarah Bernhardt, and another portrait of same with autographs. 128. A proof etching, a portrait of Ellen Terry, and an engraving, La Cigale. 129. 2 photos of full-length figures framed, and a small etching. 130. A watercolour drawing by H. O'Neill, view in County Monaghan, and another of Mountain Stream. So let's have a look at China. 138. A spirit lamp in tin box, inkstand, 2 paper knives, and contents of drawer in writing table, Arab knife in sheath. 139. An 18-inch red and blue oriental dish, 6 mark. 140. 4 12-inch blue and white oriental shaped dishes. 141. A 10-inch red and blue oriental china jar and a 14-inch Indian china plate, in brackets faulty. 142. A blue and white oriental game pie dish and 4 oblong ditto dishes. 143. A blue and white Worcester china jug, faulty. A blue and white delf bowl and a blue oriental crocus stand. 144. An oriental blue and white china bowl and lid. 145. a delf jar and lid, an old green oriental shaped china bowl, figures, flowers, etc., and 2 blue and white jars. 146, a flat shape, blue and white oriental china vase and 6 others. 147, 2 blue and white oriental bowls and 4 jars and lids. 148, a blue Worcester basin and lid, teapot and lid, handle broken, 2 round bottles and stoppers, an oriental figure, 2 vases, 2 ditto with lids, 2 bottles, a cup, and an extra lid, 18 pieces. 149, a 13-inch blue Moorish pottery basin and a pair of ditto jars and lids. So let's move on a bit down a bit. Oh, I just noticed this one. 154, a large quantity of photographs of celebrities. Ground floor study. 158, an antique Persian carpet, 8'6" by 7'6". 159, a black sheepskin hearth rug. 160, an antique brass fender, standards and brass fire implements. 161, a small antique pier glass gilt frame with cornice. 162, an antique settee covered in marine. 163, a Japanese embroidered silk gown. 164, 2 silver tablespoons. 165, 2 silver matchbox frames. 166, a silver caddy spoon and 4 small Indian spoons, jewelled heads. 167, a plated gravy spoon, 2 sauce ladles, 2 tablespoons, 16 forks, 6 teaspoons and 6 egg spoons, 33 pieces, in a baize-lined wicker basket. 168, 8 pairs of plated fish knives and forks. 169, a knife tray and 25 pieces of table cutlery. 170, 1 dozen nearly new table knives and 1 dozen small knives. So just flick through some of these then. So 178, a Chinese lantern hanging, ditto, 2 bronze figures, 2 Japanese masks, bronze flower and ditto lobster. And in the hall, 190, a rope mat and white silk curtain. Dining room, 191, a wrought iron dog stove, ditto fender and set of ditto fire implements. 192, a copper and brass lamp frame. 193, a child's cart and pair of shafts. 194, a mahogany Chippendale elbow chair, enamelled white. 195, a valuable ormolu mantel clock striking on gong. 196, brass curtain poles and rings. It just shows you it's literally absolutely everything from the house. First floor, drawing room. 197, the India matting is laid. 198, 4 brass curtains, rods and rings. 199, a handsome brass mounted dog stove, brass fender, set of ditto fire implements and stand. 200, a large sheepskin hearth rug. 201, 2 Japanese embroidered panels in ceiling. 202, 3 horsehair ottoman cushions. And on the landing, 204, the India matting is laid, pair of folding steps and copper gas bracket. In the back room, let's flick through a few of these. 207, 4 carved wood Moorish window screens. 212, an antique mahogany oval dressing glass and 2 tall china candlesticks. 313, a silver mounted half-pint pocket flask. 215, a portfolio on stand containing a quantity of prints, photographs, etc. 216, 2 Chinese enamelled copper jars and lids. 220, a painted washstand set of quaint enamelled pottery ware, water bottle, tumbler, Chinese toilet pail and towel airer. This is the back page. Second floor, front room. 225, the Kidderminster carpet and 3 brass curtain rods. 226, a large japanned tin travelling trunk. Landing. 227, cans, pails, etc. in housemaid's closet. Back room. 228, the Indian matting, 2 Persian rugs and 2 sheepskin rugs. 229, 4 curtains and 4 rods and a folding iron bedstead. 230, 2 japanned washstands and fittings. Top floor, front room. 231, the bookshelves and India matting. 232, a carved wood Moorish screen. 233, an old brass fender, brass curtain rods and 3 Chinese lanterns. On the landing, 234, linoleum as laid and water can. Back room. 235, linoleum as laid. 236, a curd rug and iron guard fender. 237, a very large quantity of toys. That's sad, isn't it? 238, a small nest of bookshelves, a medicine cupboard and a framed print. Basement, kitchen and scullery. 239, linoleum, 2 rugs, fender and fire irons. 240, 2 deal tables. 241, a mahogany dial. 242, 4 chairs. 243, crockery, pieces, glass, pieces. 244, tin and ironware pieces. Pantry. 245, floorcloth, table and curtains. And the outside. 246, a rabbit hutch. Obviously belonging to the 2 children. The end. Thank you for joining me today to take a fascinating look at this sale of Oscar Wilde's valuables and household furniture and his children's toys and things like that happened in 1895. This is Kate at the Library of Whispers saying bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.